Ladies and gentlemen, what if I told you the secret to sparking unstoppable desire isn't about chasing or shouting louder, but about mastering the art of mystery? Imagine holding a power so magnetic it pulls others in effortlessly, simply by what you don't say. Stay with me, because in the next moments you'll discover how silence, softness, and mystery become your greatest allies in creating deep, irresistible attraction. This isn't just advice, it's a game changer. Ready to unlock it? Silence is one of the most underrated displays of self-assurance. In a world where noise equals relevance, choosing quiet shows a different kind of power. It's not about retreating or withholding. It's about holding space confidently. When someone is silent, truly grounded in themselves, they command attention without demanding it. That kind of silence isn't awkward. It's electric. It's the kind that fills a room without raising a voice. It speaks louder than any clever word or practiced line. And most importantly, it's the silence that says, I know who I am. It's not about being passive. It's about being composed, certain, and unapologetically present. Many people associate confidence with how much someone talks, how witty they are, or how fast they respond. But true confidence often looks like the opposite. It's the ability to sit in stillness without scrambling to impress. Talking can be easy, filling space with noise is a habit, but remaining calm in silence, especially when others expect a reaction, is strength. It means being okay with not proving anything. It means letting things unfold without force. That silence becomes a filter. It weeds out noise, distractions, and inauthentic connection. It says, I'm not afraid of what happens when I don't perform. And that kind of energy is captivating. Silence creates contrast in a world of constant interruption. While others rush to speak, the quiet one often holds the most influence. People lean in, wondering what's behind the stillness. There's depth there. There's thoughtfulness. There's an emotional control that can't be faked. You're not silent because you have nothing to say. You're silent because you're choosing your moment. You're listening, observing, and processing. You're showing respect to the moment by not needing to dominate it. That kind of presence is rare, and it's deeply magnetic. It turns heads not with volume, but with subtlety. The decision to be quiet in key moments signals maturity. It shows that you're not driven by impulse. You're not reacting. You're responding. And sometimes that response is nothing at all. You've learned that your value isn't in your ability to explain, convince, or persuade. Your worth is intrinsic and it doesn't need to be advertised. Silence, in this way, becomes your boundary. It protects your energy. It shields you from being drawn into unnecessary drama or emotional noise. You're not cold. You're selective. You understand that restraint is elegance in action, and that not every moment deserves your full emotional investment. When you choose stillness over spectacle, you communicate that you're in control of your experience. You know how to self-regulate. You're not driven by anxiety to fill the gaps, to make everyone comfortable, to prove your place. That's a skill not many people develop early on. And when someone does, it's noticeable. People sense that calm. They feel the difference. You're not trying to control the room. You're simply grounded within yourself. Calm draws attention, but more importantly, it earns respect, because people intuitively recognize when someone has mastered their own presence. Being silent doesn't mean being disconnected. It means listening more deeply. You're not waiting to talk. You're actually hearing what's being said. You're reading the space, picking up on tone, noticing body language, tuning into energy. And that kind of attentiveness can't happen if you're constantly speaking. It's in the quiet that understanding sharpens, or it's in the stillness that emotional intelligence deepens. You begin to sense things others miss. That kind of awareness gives you an edge, not to manipulate, but to move with clarity and intention. You don't need to speak over others to be present. You just need to be aligned. Quiet confidence is subtle but unforgettable. It doesn't need to shout. It doesn't even need to speak. It shows up in eye contact, posture, the way someone walks into a room and doesn't look around for reassurance. It lives in the small pauses, the thoughtful nods, the soft smiles. It's a knowing, not about being better than anyone else, but about being enough as you are. It doesn't compete, compare, or chase validation. It's not bothered by being misunderstood because it trusts its own clarity. And when someone lives from that space, they leave an impression that lingers. Stillness also gives space for others to reveal themselves. When you don't rush to fill the silence, you allow truth to surface. People talk more when they aren't being interrupted. They show you who they are. They project, reveal, confess. And you're simply there, holding space, watching. You learn more by listening than by talking, and that gives you the advantage of discernment. You begin to see patterns, notice red flags, catch contradictions, all without saying much. Your silence becomes not just strength, but strategy, not to manipulate, but to protect your peace and clarity. There's an art to knowing when to speak and when to stay silent. Silence doesn't mean being invisible. It means choosing moments that matter. When you do speak, it carries more weight. People listen more closely because they know you don't speak to fill time, you speak to add meaning. Your words become deliberate, intentional, impactful. You're not just reacting to fill silence. You're shaping the atmosphere. There's no need to over-explain or justify. You've developed the self-trust to let your presence speak for itself. And in doing so, you set a tone others rise to meet. Ultimately, silence creates a powerful kind of presence, the kind that doesn't need to be explained. It allows your energy to do the talking. You become memorable, not because you're loud, but because you're real. You stay calm when others get flustered. You listen when others rush to speak. You maintain grace when others grasp for attention. That quiet strength, that poised energy is irresistible. You are the calm in the chaos, the still point in a spinning world. And that grounded presence becomes your signature, your superpower, an energy that draws in what's meant for you without force. Softness is often misunderstood in today's world. It's mistaken for weakness, passivity, or lack of boundaries. But true softness comes from deep inner strength. It takes courage to remain gentle in a world that rewards hardness. The soft person doesn't shrink. They simply choose grace over aggression. They know that stillness doesn't mean surrender. It means responding, not reacting. It means choosing peace without giving up power. There is a calm authority in someone who doesn't have to raise their voice to be heard. Their strength lives in their restraint, their empathy, and their depth. Being soft is not about pleasing everyone or staying quiet out of fear. It's about standing in your truth without losing your center. It's choosing kindness when cruelty is easier. It's holding compassion whilst still holding standards. There's a quiet resilience in someone who can listen without needing to dominate, who can remain open without letting others walk all over them. That's what makes softness so powerful. It's active, not passive. It takes intentionality. It takes control. To be soft is to be powerful in a way that doesn't seek approval, but radiates authenticity. Softness also allows space for others to show up fully. It doesn't demand attention, it invites presence. It makes people feel safe without giving up its own sense of self. A soft person doesn't enter a room needing to be the loudest. They're confident in their energy. They know that influence doesn't always require volume. There's a quiet leadership in the way they move, the way they hold space. They're not performing, they're being. And that sincerity draws others in. It makes them curious. It makes them feel seen, even without many words. In softness, there is deep wisdom. It takes discernment to choose empathy over defensiveness, to hold emotion without becoming overwhelmed by it. A soft person can feel deeply and still remain anchored. They don't harden their heart to protect themselves, they expand it. They learn to set boundaries that are firm yet kind. They speak the truth without needing to tear others down. They walk away when needed, not out of spite, but out of self-respect. And even when they say no, it comes from love, not anger. That's emotional mastery. Not everyone gets there. The power of softness is that it transforms the energy in a room. It disarms conflict, it soothes tension, it invites openness. When someone is soft but self-assured, They show others a new way of relating, one that doesn't involve power struggles or ego battles, one that says, I don't need to overpower, I just need to be present. That presence shifts dynamics without force. It invites depth over drama. It communicates clarity without chaos. It holds a mirror up, often making others aware of how loud or guarded they've become. It inspires without demanding. Softness doesn't come from never being hurt. It comes from choosing not to become bitter because of it. It's forged in resilience. It's built by surviving storms without losing your capacity to feel. Many people harden as a defense mechanism, but to stay soft is a radical choice. It means keeping your heart open without letting it be stepped on. It means holding dignity, even when no one else around you is. That takes far more strength than simply shutting down. That's where grace is born, in choosing healing over hardness, in keeping love alive in your spirit. Being soft doesn't mean lacking opinions or being passive in your choices. It means asserting yourself with care and clarity. It means expressing your truth without trying to dominate. There's no need to yell when you know your voice matters. There's no need to prove when you're already enough. The soft person leads with presence, not performance. They know how to use silence as power and kindness as armor. They don't give everyone access just because they're kind. They choose their circle with intention, not obligation. That's not weakness, it's wisdom. There's also beauty in softness that transcends surface appearances. It's in the way someone listens with their whole body, the way they remember small details, the way they hold space when someone needs to fall apart. Their energy says, you're safe here, but not at the cost of themselves. Their softness is intentional, not naive. They don't tolerate disrespect, but they don't return it either. They lead with compassion and protect their peace at the same time. That duality is rare, and it's what makes their energy unforgettable. To be soft in a harsh world is to be a quiet rebel. It's choosing humanity over hardness. It's not getting pulled into toxic dynamics just to prove a point. It's holding your center when others are losing theirs. It's recognizing that peace is not passivity, it's power. The kind that doesn't need external validation to exist. When you embody softness, you shift the space around you. You raise the emotional standard. You show others that strength and tenderness are not opposites. They can and do coexist beautifully. There's nothing more powerful than someone who chooses softness, not because they can't fight, but because they don't need to. Their presence does the work. Their energy speaks volumes. They're calm in their power, clear in their worth, and composed in their response. That doesn't mean they never get angry, never hurt, or never fall. It means they choose not to let those things define them. They rise with grace, they speak with care, they move with intention. And in a world full of noise, they stand out, not by shouting, but by simply being real. There is incredible power in your absence, not in a cold or manipulative way, but in the sacred space you create when you're not always available. Constant presence can dilute impact, while thoughtful space builds appreciation. When you're always there, always reachable, always responding, your presence becomes expected, not valued. But when you pull back intentionally, your energy becomes something to notice again. The silence starts to speak. Your presence begins to echo. That gap between moments becomes the stage where curiosity and longing quietly rise. And from that space, connection becomes conscious rather than habitual. Being available all the time can feel like connection, but it's often a reaction to fear. Fear of being forgotten, misunderstood, or left out. But the truth is, overexposure dulls even the brightest light. When you're constantly pouring out your energy, others forget what it feels like to miss it. They don't recognize the gift they're receiving because they never experience its absence. When you choose to step back, even slightly, you shift the dynamic. You remind others that your presence is a choice, not a guarantee. That reminder reintroduces gratitude into the equation. And gratitude is the seed of desire. Creating distance doesn't mean playing games. It means valuing your time, your energy, your peace. It means letting people meet you halfway instead of constantly overreaching. You don't need to over-explain, justify, or make excuses for stepping back. Space isn't selfish, it's sacred. It gives you clarity, it restores your emotional balance, it lets your nervous system breathe, and in that breathing room, your sense of self sharpens. You're no longer entangled in someone else's rhythm. You're dancing to your own, and that rhythm has a gravitational pull all its own. Pulling back isn't about silence or punishment, it's about remembering your worth without external cues. It's about understanding that your value doesn't come from being always on or endlessly available. You don't need to answer every message instantly. You don't need to attend every call just because it rings. Choosing stillness in moments of overextension is a declaration of self-respect. It says, I trust that what's real will stay, even if I don't constantly nurture it. That trust frees you from the emotional labor of proving. It lets you rest in your own energy without apology. And that rest is magnetic. When you create distance, you allow reflection, not just for yourself, but for others. You stop filling the silence, and that silence becomes revealing. It shows what's real and what's routine. It highlights who reaches out and who only reacts when you're constantly present. You begin to see the difference between connection and convenience. Space is a mirror. It reflects the true nature of things. And sometimes it's only in stepping away that the truth steps forward. That truth gives you power, not over others, but over your own decisions. From there you choose who deserves more of you and who only wanted access, not depth. Absence is not lack. It's contrast. Without contrast, appreciation fades. The same way silence gives meaning to music, distance gives meaning to presence. It's not about withdrawing love. It's about elevating its value. When you're intentional with your energy, your presence becomes something to be cherished, not assumed. People start to remember your laugh, your insight, your energy, not just because it's missing, but because its return feels like light. Scarcity creates emotional clarity. It sharpens focus. And those who see you clearly in your absence are the ones who truly appreciate your light. Sometimes, creating space reveals the things that words cannot. Energy speaks louder than conversation. The shift in your availability says what your mouth doesn't need to. It's not bitterness, it's balance. It's not silence, it's self-respect. It's the gentle act of stepping back so your soul can speak louder. You don't have to announce your boundaries. Living them consistently is enough. The world eventually adapts to what you tolerate and what you no longer entertain. And those who are attuned to depth, not just access, will feel the shift and rise to meet it. You're not disappearing, you're choosing your moments. You're not withholding, you're aligning. You're choosing where your energy flows, not out of strategy, but out of self-love. When people no longer feel entitled to your constant presence, they begin to value it again. They notice the difference between noise and meaning. They start to lean in, not because they're forced, but because you've created the conditions for them to miss your presence genuinely. This kind of awareness can't be forced. It has to be invited. And nothing invites appreciation more than thoughtful space. You don't owe constant access to anyone. Your energy is not an open bar. You get to close the door sometimes. You get to rest. You get to reset. Without guilt, constant connection is not the same as deep intimacy. Sometimes it's in the pause that depth is created. A moment of space gives time for reflection. A day of silence offers emotional reset. A week of distance can rekindle wonder. And wonder is the beginning of renewed appreciation. Appreciation, when earned and felt, gives relationships roots, not just routines. Choosing space is choosing self-trust. It means trusting that you are worth remembering, that your absence can carry weight, that your presence doesn't need to be constantly delivered to be meaningful. You are not defined by how often you show up. You are defined by the depth you bring when you do. So take your time, step back when needed. Don't fill every gap. Let curiosity grow where constancy once stood. Let people wonder, let them notice, let them feel the absence. And in that absence, rediscover the value of your light. Mystery holds a unique power that words often fail to capture. It's the invisible thread that pulls curiosity forward without force or pressure. When everything is revealed too quickly, fascination tends to fade. Mystery keeps people wondering, guessing, and wanting more. It's not about playing games or withholding for manipulation, but about honoring the natural rhythm of discovery. When some things are left unsaid, it invites imagination to fill the gaps. That unknown space creates emotional tension, which fuels connection. Desire is not just about presence, it's about anticipation. Mystery keeps anticipation alive, and anticipation keeps energy moving. Revealing every detail too soon can kill the magic of getting to know someone. When there's no puzzle left to solve, interest tends to wane. Mystery invites questions and curiosity, and those are the spark plugs of emotional connection. It allows people to see glimpses instead of the full picture, creating an irresistible pull. When energy is paced with intentional revelation, it feels like an unfolding story rather than a checklist. That story engages the heart and mind. The unknown becomes a playground for desire to dance. The less that's exposed, the more the imagination runs wild. This kind of intrigue creates emotional investment without effort. Mystery isn't about being distant or cold. It's about being intentional with what's shared and when. It's an art of balancing openness with restraint, sharing enough to build trust and connection, but holding back enough to keep things fresh and compelling. This balance creates a rhythm where curiosity is honored, not drowned. When everything is laid bare, the feeling of discovery is lost. But when a story is shared in layers, it invites exploration. That gradual reveal keeps attention focused and interest alive. It's a dance between vulnerability and self-protection, allowing connection without losing oneself. People are naturally drawn to what they don't fully understand. Mystery creates a magnetic tension that is emotionally energizing. It invites people to lean in and engage deeper. It invites wonder and speculation, which are powerful emotional states. When there's a hint of something more, the mind becomes more engaged. That engagement strengthens the emotional experience. It shifts the connection from surface-level interaction to something more profound. Mystery creates a sense of depth and complexity that feels rich and meaningful. It allows connection to grow organically rather than being rushed or forced. When the full story isn't told right away, it allows space for imagination to fill in the blanks. Imagination often paints a more beautiful picture than reality. It adds layers of possibility, wonder, and excitement. That emotional investment builds anticipation, which fuels desire. Mystery keeps the energy dynamic and unpredictable, preventing boredom. It encourages emotional risk-taking because curiosity invites vulnerability. When people want to know more, they're more likely to engage authentically. That authenticity is the foundation of lasting connection. Mystery then is not a wall, but a door, opening slowly. Sharing everything at once can create a feeling of predictability and routine. Mystery disrupts that pattern by introducing unpredictability. Unpredictability triggers the brain's reward system. It releases dopamine, the chemical linked to pleasure and motivation. This neurochemical effect makes mystery emotionally compelling and even addictive. It's part of why stories with suspense hold attention so well. In relationships, mystery creates emotional highs that keep things exciting. It breaks monotony and stimulates engagement. When energy fluctuates naturally, it keeps emotional interest alive over time. Mystery is the emotional spice that flavors connection. Mystery also protects vulnerability. It allows for emotional safety by controlling the pace of disclosure. When boundaries are respected, trust can deepen gradually. This slow reveal builds a foundation where openness feels safe, not rushed. It prevents oversharing before true connection is established. This kind of pacing honors the emotional process for both parties. It nurtures a sense of respect and patience. Mystery becomes a form of self-care as well as relational care. It lets emotions mature without pressure or expectation. That patience deepens connection and enriches desire. Being mysterious isn't about pretending or hiding who you are. It's about choosing what to share and when in a way that honors your own rhythm. It's a way of protecting your energy and emotional well-being. Mystery is a tool for emotional empowerment. It lets you maintain your integrity while still engaging fully. It's about authenticity with boundaries, not playing masks. This balance builds attraction based on real connection, not superficial intrigue. When you live from this place, your energy naturally draws people in. It signals depth, confidence, and emotional intelligence. Mystery becomes a natural extension of self. Ultimately, mystery fuels desire because it invites engagement on multiple levels. It touches the intellectual, emotional, and imaginative parts of connection. It invites people to stay curious and present rather than rushing to conclusions. That ongoing curiosity keeps energy vibrant and dynamic. Mystery creates a rhythm of discovery that feels alive and real. It prevents stagnation and fosters growth. When connection is layered with mystery, it becomes a journey.